Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi there, I'm John Cloud. Thanks for tuning into my channel. This is my first video. I'm gonna do videos kind of dissecting and critiquing and analyzing different aspects of pop culture, both past and present. Maybe focus on a lot of movies, and so from that, my first topic of today's video is American actress Shelley Duvall, who was born in 1949 and is most famous for her role in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, in which she played opposite Jack Nicholson, and she's really iconic for that role.
Dick, if you're ready to do it now, I think it'd be a good idea if you could show Mrs. Torrance the kitchen while I continue on with Jack.
It'd be a pleasure. Right this way, Mrs. Torrance.
Great. See you later, hon.
Bye, darling. Mrs. Torrance, your husband introduced you as Winifred. Now, are you a Winnie or a Freddie?
I'm a Wendy.
Oh, Wendy, that's nice. That's the prettiest.
God, this is the kitchen, huh?
Yeah, this is it. How do you like it, Danny? Is it big enough for you?
Yeah, it's the best place I've ever seen.
Shining, which I saw when I was a little kid, you know, and as I got older, realized just what a great movie it was, and maybe 5 years ago or something, I started to do more research into Shelley Duvall, because I felt like she was a really fascinating character in that movie. It's just like, gosh, who is this actress? What else is she in? So probably the first thing that she's most famous for besides The Shining is she was in a movie directed by her longtime collaborator, and we'll get into that, director Robert Altman, and that film is Popeye, in which she starred as Olive Oil. It was, of course, an adaptation of Popeye the cartoon, and Popeye was done by Robin Williams in the Altman film in the late 1970s. I might throw a date on that. I don't think it's that great of a movie, really, but any time seeing Shelley Duvall on the screen is just fascinating and entertaining. Which kind of brings me to, so the majority of her life prior to becoming an actress, you know, I don't think there's that much info out there. There aren't any documentaries or anything about her online, so that's another reason I thought there'd be a hole to fill or gap to fill with this by doing this video. So she grew up, I know, around Texas, different parts of Texas, and was settled in the Houston area, I think probably when she was like a teenager, and nothing too out of the ordinary about her life. I know that she met Robert Altman in 1970 when he was doing the film Brewster McCloud, and again, Altman is a really well-regarded American director of the 20th century. He directed movies that I love. Three Women, which I'll go into, which is his greatest collaboration with Shelley Duvall, in my opinion. And he did MASH, which is the military movie of the 1970s. It was kind of parodying life on military encampments, I believe. And then there was a series And he did a movie in like 2001 or 2002 called Gosford Park, which is really fun, kind of the predecessor to Downton Abbey, because it's all about like the two levels of society and life in a Victorian era British manor, or Georgian, whatever. So just looking at Altman again, I just was curious what he did before kind of he started to collab with Shelley Duvall, because I think that was pretty early in his. Yeah, he kind of looks like the first kind of prominent thing he did. Well, he like did some movie called The James Dean Story in 1957, which couldn't have been long after James Dean had died. But where he really broke through, obviously, was with MASH, the film. That was in 1970. So right after MASH, he was doing this movie, Brewster McCloud. And that's what brings me back to Shelley Duvall, who was a Houston native. So she was living in Houston, and I thought the story was that she was working as an actress, or not as an actress, but as a waitress in a diner that the people from the set of Brewster McCloud kept frequenting. But the film is really like no wave. It feels really kind of like stream of consciousness as far as Robert Altman. And I know that I'm familiar with like what I've read about him. Most of his films are based off of kind of a dream that he would have had. And whether she was working at a diner or not, Altman apparently met her at a party that her husband was throwing, which is not unlike her, reminds me of her role in Three Women. But so she was hosting, playing homemaker and being homemaker, and had a party, and apparently Altman and the whole cast on Wikipedia was saying was just fascinated by her and just thought, man, she's really interesting. And Altman kind of clicked for him, like, you're an actress, you need to be an actress. And he convinced her, I've heard her in interviews, I think it was that she was working in a diner, so he convinced her that you are an actress. And I think that's so interesting because she has this personality that's like, you can sense how humble and reserved and quirky, and just there's so much going on in her head, which leads to why it's so devastating and sad that unfortunately she's had a lot of mental health issues just lately, like in the last 5 or 10 years that's been documented. So Shelley Duvall was convinced by Altman, this fabulous new wave director in 1970, to star New Wave, No Wave. It says that he was part of kind of a new Hollywood. Let's see. I'm getting the first paragraph on Wikipedia for him. It says that he was a figure from the new Hollywood area with such directors as Martin Scorsese, Woody Allen, Cindy Lou May, and David Lynch. So like 70s and on, kind of like a new consciousness around filmmaking. And yeah, really psychedelic. And Brewster McCloud is just a perfect example of what you want to see. If you want to see the extremes of what was happening in American cinema in the 1970s, like, I mean, it's like kind of an equivalent to like Clockwork Orange or a lot of things like that, which brings me kind of to a video I'd like to do someday on, I've read on numerous occasions that Stanley Kubrick, who directed, of course, The Shining and Clockwork Orange, which I just mentioned, I know that his favorite movie was quoted many times as being Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski.
She ate the mouse, she can't see nor hear, she's like dead now, sing.
He's one of the most interesting people, and I want to talk about him at some certain point because he's a really divisive figure and just an interesting person. A confirmed predator. That's Polanski. Anyway, just back to Altman, and so he convinced Shelley Duvall, like, you're an actress, you're just so unique, you need to be in movies, and specifically my movie Here and Now. So she was in Brewster McCloud, and I know that she did a number of other films with this director, Robert Altman, throughout the 70s. And she really became like his muse, whether it was, you know, overt or not, really his muse. And my favorite movie that they did together came in 1977, I believe. I mean, she was just like a really successful actress throughout the 70s. It was like the greatest time for her in highest prominence. She had a minor role in Annie Hall in 77. Where is the... Yeah, so Three Women was 1977, and Three Women is one of my favorite movies now. I only looked into Three Women because one day I think I saw it on IFC, and I said, there's Shelley Duvall from The Shining. How interesting. And the character that she plays immediately just kind of drew me in. She's this waify, really awkward, kind of ignorant to herself and unaware socially. Just this great character. And I don't know how much of that was Shelley Duvall and how much of that was Altman's direction, but just that movie too, like her character and then the character Sissy Spacek plays, and just the whole ambiance of the film. It's kind of a psychological drama, just really like subtle and beautiful. But I'll definitely include a little bit of clips about that from that. So throughout the 70s, she was really, like kind of like a fashion figure, just really like this unique and beautiful actress. So yeah, throughout the 70s, she had a great career. In 1980, she did. In 1980, she did. What's it called? Popeye, which was another Altman film. So Altman was this like really well-regarded director, and they offered him to do, I don't know what studio, but offered him to do Popeye adaptation, an adaptation of the cartoon Popeye, starring Robin Williams.
I'm a hip old granny who could hip-hop, bebop, dance till you drop, and yo-yo make a wicked cup of coo-coo.
And so Shelley Duvall plays the Olive Oil, Popeye's girlfriend, and I think they probably got married in that movie. I don't love that movie that much, but again, just seeing Shelley Duvall, you know, just another example of like she had a lot of high-profile roles and was probably one of the better-paid actresses of the 1970s. So yeah, well, the reason I bring it up, she did Popeye, I think, in 1980, and then she also did The Shining in 1980. So two really big films that year. She did a couple more movies in the early 80s.